Hej, velkommen til den første udsendelse i Papegøje TV på Facebook. Vi har lidt forskelligt på programmet i dag. Vi skal blandt andet en tur til Låge Park og se, hvordan der ser ud der. Det er filmstumper, som er taget dernede, og som ikke vil blive brugt i min kommende film om papegøjen, som jo har været nogle år under planlægning. Der blev optaget flere hundrede timer nede i Låge Park, både i deres forskningsafdeling, men også især i deres offentlige zoologiske have. Jeg synes, det var lidt ærgerligt, at de ting, der ikke skulle bruges i min film, de bare lå på hylderne. Så derfor har jeg skruet en lille ting sammen til jer om Låge Park. Det handler ikke kun udelukkende her om papegøjer, men i det hele taget parken som helhed. Jeg håber, I kan lide det, så lad os tage hul på det og kigge på, hvordan der ser ud i Låge Park. God fornøjelse. Mange solhungrende danskere tager om vinteren ned til de kanariske øer, for her kan man ofte nyde sommertemperaturer hele året rundt. Naturen er enestående på denne vulkanø, hvor man møder de mest fantastiske naturscenerier. Netop derfor valgte tyskeren Wolfgang Kissling at placere sit lille papegøjeshelter på Tenerife. Her er det perfekte klima for disse fugle. Ingen havde forudset, at Låge Park mange år senere skulle blive et af de førende steder i verden, når det gælder papegøjeforskning. Rejser man derned om vinteren, anbefales det at flyve til det sydlige Tenerife, hvor klimaet er langt bedre end på den nordlige del. På den sydlige del er der sol og strand, hvor det i nord mere minder om en dårlig dansk sommer. Bor man i syd, er der 2 veje, man kan komme til Låge Park. Man kan køre de 120 km af motorvejen, eller tage op i 3.800 meters højde forbi vulkanen Teide. Hvis man tager motorvejen, kører man igennem Orotava-dalen, og med Teide i baggrunden ender man i Puerto La Cruz. Det er her Låge Park er placeret. Indgangen til Låge Park er bygget som en thailandsk landsby og den største af sin slags uden for Thailand. Alle materialer til byggeriet er importeret fra Thailand. Landsbyen er bygget på pæle over søen, der selvfølgelig huser en enorm mængde af køjkapper. Låge Park har mere end 300 papegøjearter i samlingen og mere end 4.000 individer. Låge Park regnes derfor at være førende inden for bevarelse af papegøjer. Der avles årligt omkring 1.500 fugleunger, hvoraf de bedste fugle beholdes i egen genbank og resten sælges. Har man sagt fugl, må man også sige fisk. Låge Park har et meget flot akvarie, hvor man finder både salt og ferskvandsfisk i samlingen. Et af højdepunkterne er den berømte hajtunnel. Ikke alle fugle kan flyve, og Låge Park har en hel afdeling for arktiske fugle, hvor sneen fyrer ud over de majestætiske pingviner. Det er ikke kun fugle, der får lov til at formere sig her, og her er det et par skildpadder, der højlydt nyder dagen. Volieren er store i Låge Park. Her er det et par ekstremt sjældne lerspapegøjer, der nyder hinandens selskab. Nogle af voliererne kan man gå ind i, f.eks. her i afdelingen for australske papegøjer. Kakaduerne har som alle andre papegøjer deres egen afdeling. Afdelingen for arer, også kaldet The Macaw Jungle. Park kan virke meget kontroversielt, men uden disse tiltag havde det ikke været muligt at støtte så mange projekter rundt i verden, som de gør. Park er økonomisk delt i to. Deres zoologiske have og deres forskning. Forskningsafdelingen ejer alle dyrene, og den zoologiske have betaler en leje for de udstillede dyr. Dette enorme overskud bruges på forskning og direkte støtte til især truede fuglearter.
Især det berømte orca-hval-show er blevet offentligt kritiseret af især dyreværnsgrupperne. Denne kritik er ikke blevet mindre, da en af hvalerne dræbte deres træner, den 29-årige Alexis Martinez, juleaftensdag i 2009. Siden denne dag har det ikke mere været tilladt at have fysisk kontakt til disse dyr. Sidste programpunkt i denne omgang er en lille dokumentar om smugling af den grå jago og de problemer, det har givet. Det er et interview med Boyd Madsen fra National Geographic, som er specialist i gråpapegøjernes status i Afrika. Rigtig god fornøjelse og på gensyn.
Welcome back. This is National Geographic Weekend. I'm Boyd Madsen. You may remember the famous gray parrot, Alex, because this is a parrot that was, every time they talked about language learning abilities of animals, Alex was always brought out. It had maybe 150 word vocabulary, something like that. Parrot died recently, but the gray parrot is very popular because it's smart, knows a lot of words, so it's a popular pet. And what that means, trouble for the gray parrots in the wild. Steve Boyce has been working with parrots, trying to save parrots, studying parrots for most of his life, and not just the gray parrot, but other parrots in Africa, trying to protect them, particularly the Cape parrot, the most endangered of the birds. One of our National Geographic grantees joins us now. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Boyd. Great to be on the show.
Everybody loves the gray parrot, but they want them in their house or their home, and they're getting them there illegally. It's having a huge impact on the population in the wild, right?
Absolutely. We're seeing local extinctions in Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, the DRC. Basically, throughout their range, they are disappearing. We're calling it the African silence or dead zones. It's really quite sad.
And the numbers, over the past 20 years, it's estimated maybe 2 to 2.5 million gray parrots have been removed from the wild.
Absolutely. In the region of 20% of the global population are removed from the wild each year. Now, this is done using nylon snares. They use nets. They use perches with glue on them, basically any way they can get at them. This is artisanal trappers, local people, or even very organized commercial operations taking large numbers out of the wild.
So the 20%, that's anywhere from 50 to 100,000 a year. Obviously, that's not sustainable.
Not at all. Not at all. It's a direct extinction threat. And we'll be very lucky if this continues to have African greys in the wild in the next 10 to 15 years.
It's already banned to have these wild-caught birds brought into certain countries like the United States. But if it's an offspring of a bird, if it was born in captivity, then it's okay.
It is. It's legal to transport and sell those birds around the world. What typically happens is the wild-caught stock are sent into countries with poor regulations, countries like South Africa, where I work, Sri Lanka, Bahrain, where they have what are called bird mills, where they take these wild-caught birds that are primed and ready to breed, they stick them in the dark, change their diet, and remove the eggs. And if you keep on removing eggs and she feels that she's ready to lay more, she will, and she'll continue doing so.
They use them as breeding stock.
Yes, and that's the loophole. So the wild-caught birds are used as breeding stock to produce clearly captive-bred, wonderful little pets that are exported in their thousands. For example, South Africa imported over 5,000 wild-caught African greys in 2009, but we exported 26,000 in the same year, just showing how productive these bird mills are and how much money these people are making, noting that the birds are sold for over $2,500 each.
And it's the reason they have to keep catching so many is they don't have a long life when they're shoved in the dark and just told to give birth every couple of months.
That's a fact. They live for 3 to 5 years before they stop laying eggs, and they're pretty much useless to those owners, to those breeders, and they're either laundered into the pet trade, and that'll be a really nasty pet that won't last long, or they are euthanized and then replaced with more wild-caught birds, which are a lot cheaper to source from the wild.
You're getting about 5 years life, and what's the normal life expectancy for a parrot is much longer. It's like a human life expectancy almost.
Absolutely. I mean, African grey parrots live for, we estimate in the region of 60 to 65 years in the wild. And I've actually met an 85-year-old African grey in captivity, crazy as a hatter, but alive and enjoyed a full life.
Like all of us, the older it gets, the crazier it gets.
Yeah, absolutely. But I mean, African grey parrots, they are intelligent. They develop at the same rate as we do. They go through a teenage phase. They're only ready to start breeding after the age of about 7 to 10 years old. So they're a little bit faster than us, but that's in the wild. And that's what these trappers target. It's part of their policy is to stress the birds out, weed out the old and young that they caught in random. So, I mean, the losses in the wild are even more than what we see at the borders and in these trade numbers.
We're talking with Steve Boyce, who is a National Geographic grantee and works trying to protect parrots in Africa, trying to stop this removal of the gray parrot from the wild and turned into essentially breeding birds illegally and forced into this. Well, it's like a slave trade. They're captured, they're forced to lay eggs, the eggs taken away. It's a short life expectancy, and it's greatly reducing the population in the wild so that people can have a pet. And as we said at the beginning, they're really a smart bird.
Yes, and we're taking that away from them. I would say an African grey, for the whole of its life, has the abilities of a 2 or 3 year old child. So that's very interactive. It's learning about you the whole time. It's forming bonds with people and members of the family. And that's the kind of thing it's having in the wild, but a lot more intense, where it's competing with other birds. We call them singles clubs, where they're meeting new ones until they find the partner that they'll keep for the rest of their lives. And maybe one of them gets caught in those traps, and that's separated. And that literally they become heartbroken. That is what these birds are like, and that's what we're doing to them.
And when they have one that's been raised in captivity and it's taken as a pet, if somebody works with it, I know Alex was an exception to learn 150 words, but typically, do most of them learn a couple of words?
Yes. I mean, they can construct sentences towards the end of their lives after about 20 years. They will mimic the sounds of doors, anything around them in their environment. Very, very intelligent birds. They will speak to get things. One bird that was trained for years and years and years, similar to Irene's one, actually had a vocab, a substantial one, 50 to 100 words. And then when it constructed its first sentence, what it said was, "I want to go tree," which was quite poignant. And then a few days later, he actually died when he didn't get that.
And his last wish, "I want to go free."
I want to go tree.
Tree, which is like free. I want to go tree. I want to get out of this house. I want out of the cage. I want to go to the tree. And they do. I mean, it's not just memorizing words, as the test done around Alex proved. They were putting them into words into order to make a sentence, and a sentence with meaning. And it recognized shapes. It could name shapes. It wasn't just a memorization. There was a small, limited, like you say, that of a 2 or 3 year old, but there was a thought process behind the language.
Absolutely, absolutely, and that's been proven time and time again. I mean, even with the Cape parrot that I work with, they can do the same. I mean, most parrots, given the opportunity, do that. Their societies in the wild are highly advanced, highly interactive. They need all of those tools. Their vocal cords are developed to be able to mimic all these sounds because they use all of that in the wild. And that's a very, very special thing for us to protect and appreciate. It's hard to share with other people, but it's there, and we must know that. And
we need, again, as often the case on these, by the time it comes to our attention, it's at a critical point. If you're removing, as we say, 20% a year, it does not give the gray parrot long in the wild. So thanks to the work of Steve Boyce, something is being done to try to prevent this illegal. It is illegal to take these parrots from the wild like this and turn them into these breeding farms. Steve, thanks for updating us on the work you're doing.
Thanks so much, Boyd.